Have you ever watched your own life shatter on a phone screen, glowing in the dark at 2 a.m.? My wife, Amelia, was asleep beside me, a faint smile on her lips like she was having a sweet dream. But her phone, left unlocked on the nightstand, was a gateway to my nightmare. A single text message notification from a contact named Work Project lit up the screen. Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. My heart hammered against my ribs, each beat a cold, hard nail driven into the coffin of our marriage. I picked up the phone, my hand trembling so badly, I almost dropped it. And what I found inside didn't just break my heart. It set my world on fire. I scrolled through months of messages, a secret life lived in hotel rooms and late-night calls, all while I was at home, trusting her completely. The night everything broke wasn't a Tuesday. It was the moment I realized the woman I loved was a complete stranger. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Amelia and I had built what I thought was a perfect life in Chicago. We had a beautiful brownstone in Lincoln Park, a life curated with art gallery openings, weekend trips to Lake Geneva, and dinners with friends where we were always the it couple. I was a software architect, and she was climbing the corporate ladder in marketing, brilliant and ambitious. I adored her drive. I supported her late nights, her business trips, her relentless pursuit of success. I was her biggest fan, the quiet, steady foundation she could always count on. Looking back, I was just the fool who paid the mortgage. The signs were there, scattered like breadcrumbs I was too blind to see. The late nights became more frequent, blamed on deadlines that never seemed to end. The business trips were extended by a day for networking, she'd say, her voice a little too bright over the phone. She started guarding her phone like it contained state secrets, angling it away from me, her fingers flying across the screen with a smirk. When I'd ask who she was texting, she'd wave a dismissive hand. "Just work, honey. You wouldn't understand." She made me feel small, as if my concern was an annoying interruption to her very important life. A coldness settled between us, a quiet, creeping frost that numbed my side of the bed. She'd roll away from me at night, a fortress of pillows between us. Intimacy became a memory. The discovery wasn't a single explosion, but a series of small, painful cuts. It started with a credit card statement, a charge for a room at the Langham, a luxury hotel on Wabash Avenue, on a night she was supposedly at a conference in Dallas. When I questioned her, she spun a flawless lie. "Oh, the company booked it by mistake, and they couldn't get a refund, so they told us to just use the credit later. Silly, right?" I nodded, wanting to believe her, hating the suspicious voice in my head. Then came the Uber receipts, emailed to our shared account. Trips to an apartment building in the West Loop, always late on a Thursday night, when she was supposedly at her weekly yoga class. The final piece of the puzzle was that phone. His name was Mark, a senior VP at her company. Their texts weren't just explicit. They were cruel. They mocked me. "Does he really believe you're at yoga?" Mark texted once. Amelia's reply, "He believes whatever I tell him. He's sweet but so predictable." Predictable. I had the word echoed in my mind. The loyal husband, the stable provider, the man who loved her unconditionally, was predictable. I sat on the edge of our bed until the sun came up, the phone feeling like a block of ice in my hand. The woman sleeping peacefully a few feet away wasn't my wife. She was a monster wearing her face. That morning when she kissed my cheek and said, "Have a great day, honey," I didn't flinch. I just smiled, a dead, empty smile. Part of me that loved her had died in the night. In its place, something cold and methodical was born. For the next 2 months, I became an actor. I was the doting husband, made her coffee, I listened to her fake stories about work, I told her I loved her. Every word was ash in my mouth. Inside, I was a machine, collecting evidence. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who worked out of a small office in the Loop. He was worth every penny. Gave me photos of Amelia and Mark kissing in a parking garage off Michigan Avenue. Photos of them going into that West Loop apartment, his arm wrapped around her waist. He gave me timelines, dates, and hotel receipts that painted a vivid, disgusting picture of their affair. Meanwhile, I set my own traps. Amelia had always dreamed of starting her own high-end marketing consultancy. It was her escape plan, the golden parachute she'd use after she got tired of me. She'd even mentioned it casually one day. "When the time is right, I'm going to be my own boss." So I encouraged her. Told her I believed in her, that she should start laying the groundwork. "You're too brilliant to work for anyone else," I said, and she beamed, lapping up the praise. She started drafting a business plan, identifying potential clients from her current company, clear violation of her employment contract. Used her work laptop, her work email, and her home Wi-Fi. Made a perfect bit-for-bit copy of her hard drive every single week. I also started separating our finances meticulously. I moved my inheritance into a separate trust account. I opened new credit cards in my name only. I documented every dollar she spent on him, the lavish dinners, the gifts, the hotel rooms, all on our joint accounts. I met with the best divorce attorney in Chicago, a woman so sharp she could have cut diamonds. We laid out the plan piece by piece. The goal wasn't just to divorce her, it was to dismantle her. To leave her with nothing but the consequences of her own actions. The day of the execution arrived. It was a Tuesday. Amelia was giving a major presentation to the entire executive board, including the CEO. It was the biggest day of her career. She left that morning glowing with confidence, giving me a quick, dismissive kiss. "Wish me luck," she said. "You won't need it," I replied. "You're a star." An hour into her presentation, I made my move. An anonymous email, sent from a Proton account, landed in the inboxes of her company's CEO, the entire board of directors, and the head of HR. The subject line was simple: unethical conduct of Amelia and Mark. The email contained everything: the photos, the hotel receipts, scans of their text messages, and the piece de resistance, her entire business plan, detailing her intent to poach the company's biggest clients for her new firm. Simultaneously, my lawyer filed for divorce, citing infidelity and misappropriation of marital assets. The petition included a restraining order, preventing her from accessing our joint accounts or entering our home. At the exact moment, she was probably being escorted out of her board meeting by security. A process server was waiting for her in the lobby to hand her the divorce papers. Her world crumbled in a single afternoon. She was fired, of course. Mark was fired too. Their affair became the cautionary tale of the company. She called me, screaming, crying, a torrent of abuse and disbelief. I let her go to voicemail. She showed up at the house, but I'd already had the locks changed. She stood on the sidewalk, a pathetic figure in her power suit, shouting my name until the neighbors started to stare. The final, quiet blow came a few weeks later. A friend told me Amelia was desperately looking for a new job, but her reputation was radioactive. No one in the industry would touch her. Out of a strange, morbid curiosity, I looked her up on LinkedIn. She'd created a new profile, desperately trying to rebrand herself. She had one entry under her work experience. It was for her new consultancy firm. And there, listed as her only employee, her only reference was her title, Executive Assistant. Below it, she had endorsed herself for skills like scheduling and administrative support. The arrogant, powerful woman who had mocked me for being predictable was now advertising herself as an assistant. She had tried to drop me, but in the end, she had dropped herself into a hole she could never climb out of. The court sided with me on everything. She walked away with nothing but her clothes and a mountain of debt. I sold the brownstone in Lincoln Park. I moved out of Chicago, away from the ghosts of a life that was never real. Sometimes, late at night, in the quiet of my new apartment, I think of her. I don't feel anger anymore, not even satisfaction. Just a vast, cold emptiness. The last I heard, she was working as a secretary in a small law firm in the suburbs,